Welcome to the most important NBA podcast on the internet, Shoot the Shit, with Fraze, Sean, and Daniel. So light one up, relax, and enjoy.
Basically, I was wanting to congratulate the Warriors for winning the title that they weren't supposed to win. But what crossed my mind, it doesn't relate to the title. It relates to the talk around the NBA, these top tens, these arguments, these. You tweeted something yesterday about KD being related to this title, which I think is hilarious. And you and I follow basketball for quite time now. That wasn't a talk around the Kings Lakers and Pistons Lakers final series, was it?
No. This stuff started basically when Skip Bayless got hot. You know, like LeBron, if he wants to be the greatest, he got to do this, this, and this. And then it's been that ever since. Like, I've seen since the finals have been over, there's been three discussions really. You got the Kevin Durant should be ashamed discussion. You got the where does Steph Curry rank discussion, and you have the Jason Tatum isn't a star discussion. And I think they all suck, because my thing is there's no way you can be a basketball fan if you're having these type of discussions after watching basketball. Like, if you enjoy basketball, then the topic should be the basketball. The topic should be about, you know, we just saw a team after 2 years of injuries come back to win their fourth title in 8 years.
We saw a team that was losing against the Raptors in Florida. By how many? By 53? Okay, of course, the main cast wasn't on the court, but still, the transition, how they came back and win this was impressive, right?
Yeah, especially it being this year. I mean, we all went to see, most of us was like, well, let's see how Golden State does, you know, and they got a hot start. Then, you know, we was all waiting to see what happens when Clay comes back, and, you know, Phoenix was rolling majority of the year. I mean, for them to do this, I mean, that should be a big deal. This is a big story. But instead, everybody's talking about stuff that doesn't matter.
Would you say that's called more like a negative stuff, because press media more relate to negative stuff? When you read the newspaper and watch TV, we don't hear positives.
No, I just think it's a bunch of people who don't like basketball. If you don't like a sport, you're not going to talk about it. So why do you want to talk about everything but that?
Maybe because it's season 82 long and they try to make up narrative stakes and stuff like that. And let's be honest, I'm sometimes bored during the regular season. Sometimes, of course, you are. But at the finals,
if you're bored, there's still dozens of basketball storylines throughout the season.
Yeah, but still, you're now in the finals. You have that one game. You have two teams, and then you talk about the player that is not in the finals.
Because they're bored.
And then you try to rate players, because that's all subjectivity. It's not all objectivity. Like Steph Curry being top 10, I won't be mad if you say he's a top 10 player, because that's your opinion. And we can argue a bit, and now and then it could be fun, and they made it fun to listen to for some people. But in a sense, bringing other players, let's don't forget, like, Kevin Durant had one of the greatest series performances last year against the champions and the playoffs. Like, I always feel like it's a negativity. I don't think we praise, as much as crazy as it sounds, we don't praise Steph Curry enough this season, this finals. We don't praise Journey of Clay this season. Draymond it's his own category, so he's not gonna get a lot of praise because of himself and what he puts on himself. But these youngers, Bob Myers, Steve Kerr, like this team has been there, done it, and they don't get phased. That's what I was saying.
But the point is, if you're a fan of something, you're going to talk about that stuff. But these people aren't fans of it, so they're not talking about it. Look, man, when the Super Bowl ended, nobody the next day was talking about Tom Brady, you know? He had nothing to do with the Super Bowl.
Yeah, they talked about Stafford and Donald.
If you're fans of it, you will talk about it. So that's what frustrates me, is that the gatekeepers aren't fans. All they want to talk about is, you know, LeBron or the Lakers. Like, there is so much Lakers convo in the finals, it didn't make no sense. And now we're talking about, you know, legacy and top 10 all time and all that. Man, Steph is 34 years old. Mm-hmm. He got like another 4 or 5 years. Let's wait. And they talking about, oh, Tatum's not a star now. It's his first finals, and they're dogging him.
And he's 24. And
like, this should be a celebration.
And he has 200 minutes more than any Warriors player.
I mean, still, for the minutes, it's his first go around. I mean, it should be celebrated for them to make it this far.
Yeah, I think Celtics
another
overall.
young star.
Yeah.
But besides that, for the past 2 seasons, we've had brand new, fresh matchups, and for the most part, we've had young stars. You know, Giannis, 26, 27, Tatum and Brown, Devin Booker. I mean, this should be a celebration, but instead, people who don't care about basketball, don't like basketball, are bringing up non-relevant stuff. I enjoyed the playoffs. I've enjoyed these past 2 NBA finals. What the heck do I have to complain about? Why would I start talking about legacies and who's top 10 of all time or whatever?
And you're not
You should
really
feel
biased.
salty.
And you're not biased overall in the NBA. You like probably a few players more than you like the other ones, but you don't have a team. You don't have we can say Curry and for example, Curry and Giannis are your favorite probably players, but not like you're gonna die for them and on Twitter and everything. So you were saying it as an objective fan. Like, you don't talk about Tatum being, I'm not sure if he's still there yet. I'm not sure if Curry can come back from 09. Like, those deep analysts, sports analysts, psychology is way into it. Like, the people, and I'm blamed to it too. Like, after 2-1, I was like, oh shit, like, I was doubting the Warriors. If you remember, I was doubting the Warriors to the whole playoffs. I was like, this against Memphis, because I was always I was always expecting the old Warriors, but this is not the old Warriors. This is the new Warriors, old core, with the combination of the young athleticism and some young parts that they acquired. So, but you're looking as a fan of pure basketball, not as like somebody who just likes to talk a lot about what if and who is.
There were so many storylines that could be talked about, and they didn't talk about them. Instead, they wanted to bring up drama, and I feel like to me that's just a sign of people who don't like the sport. So if you like it, I mean, it's the freaking Celtics. They're back in the finals after what? 15 years with 2 young stars who have yet to get over the hump. They finally get over the hump this year. They make this deep run. You know, they've had
in this
2
epic way.
series. They beat the defending champs. Like, then you got the Warriors. You know, just 2 years ago they were picking top 2 in the draft. They got these mix of young guys who have been making noise. You got the Wiggins, you know, coming from Minnesota. You got Clay, only been back 3 or 4 months. I mean, this was to me a great playoffs, great series. It's like, what the heck, man? Kevin Durant mind his own business. He's happy for these dudes. He's cool with them. Talking about, you know, this is an indictment on Kevin Durant. Man, he's just minding his own business. He has nothing to do with this series.
He came in 3 years, grabbed 2 MVPs, 2 titles with them, enjoyed it. Maybe not, but he got the job done, and he needed the new chapter. He needed a change, and you can't blame him. The only thing, I'm blaming him for joining them, but hey, that's me, because I'm biased towards my team. But in a sense, you got to give credit to Myers, be patient, getting even Russell in a signing trade with KD. They got you Wiggins, and yeah, they pulled it together. Though the discussion that I have, of course, it's almost hypothetical. Like I said, I think this is their last train. I know you disagree. I don't think they can fit. Yeah, I don't think they can keep the same core. I think Iggy's retiring, although Iggy was slightly non-factor, but the presence-wise better. I mean, I'm trying to be nice. And
he's gonna be the next Sean Livingston, you know. I mean, you see where Livingston is at right now. You know, you got to jump the Warriors front office.
Yeah, probably he'll be the scouting or recruiting shit. I'll give him to G League team to coach.
Yeah, he was basically a non-factor for the most part. They know how to retool if need be, but clearly they're getting younger in certain spots where they need to be, you know. Because
I feel like they're dependent on Steph too much. Is that true?
Well, of course this year, because Poole didn't have that great of a finals. You know, they didn't use a lot of young guys off the bench, which of course they wouldn't, because once you get in the playoffs, you pretty much, for the most part, you're only using like 8 guys.
Sometimes even a 7.
Yeah.
If you're crazy enough.
If Poole had a better finals, then we wouldn't have been talking about how much Steph been used, because he wouldn't have been used as much. But hey, the fact is, Steph could still do it when they needed it the most. And as much as we talk about, well, now Boston got the experience, it's like, well, yeah, now Golden State has that experience. So guys like Wiggins and Poole, and they're going to play much better in the future in these high pressure moments, as we expect.
Because
And
they know,
then,
yeah, they know.
and then next year, Kaminga, Wiseman, and Moody will be in those Wiggins and Poole roles where they're going to help. And at moments, they're not going to produce as much, but they won't be called on to do that. It would be Poole and Wiggins pulling a heavier load when those guys don't show up. So, I mean,
yeah, what makes me optimistic is Wiggins, in a sense of these sample of these last 3 games, because I see it's a small sample size, like you noticed. I see Draymond declining, although he had a great last 2 games. In a sense of Draymond, great last 2 games. In a sense of All-Star Hall of Fame, he had average games, in my opinion. But if you can put, like what I'm saying, you can put Wiggins in Draymond Green's spot, and you can put Kuminga on Wiggins' spot, and you can live with that, in my opinion. I mean, Draymond is not athletic that much, but these dudes are very athletic, and they're not part of the culture of the Warriors.
Yeah, but I mean, in terms of Draymond, I don't know what his fall is going to look like, because there's certain things he can still do, and I think at worst, when he's 36, 37, he may look like PJ Tucker, which is a guy who just stands in the corner and plays great defense and, has a great IQ. But the thing is, they don't need Draymond to play 40 minutes a night, and they didn't even need that when he was in his quote-unquote prime. He just needs to give them a solid 20 minutes.
Yeah, and he can
as
do
he
that.
gets older. And he can do that, especially in the West. I mean, like, what power forwards are out there that you're really concerned about him?
Jaren Jackson Jr., Anthony Davis, Jokic is not a power forward. Who else we got? We got Zion
Davis
Williams.
playing center. You know that.
Yeah, they basically don't have a center currently on their roster. That's true. But that's the all talk from Lakers. We'll have any Lakers player. But you're right. You're right in a sense. He can fit that role, because I think Kerr benching him, I think, in game 4 when I think it was an over series. Now that I look back, I think game 4, Steph's performance is one of the greatest performances. And the finals was, I think, when Boston was like, oh shit, we can't do it. It's like, to be down like after 2-1 and Steph coming to Boston and showing emotions. Actually, he's not a big emotional guy. He's like, I always felt he was cheering as a child, which was always this way. I don't know if anybody dislikes Steph in the world. To me, that's impossible. He could go
the first quarter of game 4 when he hit that 3. It was in the first quarter, man. And Boston called a timeout, and he ran down the court near Boston's bench and started yelling.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that may have been because even Clay said it. Like, I sent you that tweet where he said when they were down 2-1, he was like, we've been here before. It feels like 2015 all over again. And people laughed at him for it. And it turned out, I mean, I don't think anybody could have thought when they were down 2-1 that they were going to win 3 straight.
No, I didn't. No, you didn't. I don't think nobody. But when they were up 3-2, I thought, this is probably over. I think I even said in the preview of the finals, I feel like Boston is a better team, but talent-wise too, I think they're better. But it's just Golden State is smarter. Golden State is smarter, and they were down against the Memphis 2-1. They made the major change. They won 3 in a row. They were down against OKC 2-1, 3-1. Although with OKC, when I look back at that series, it will follow me until I die. I feel like it's not they were smarter. It's just they had more heart and they more will and everything, because they were down in all those games. Even when they were down 3-1, they were down in a 5th game in the last quarter. So that crossed my mind when Golden State went up 3-2, when I was like, yeah, this is probably over. I felt like this was supposed to be us before them, if you know what I mean. We drafted guys, we developed them, and we went to the finals maybe too early. And hey, we didn't do it, but Golden State did it in a magnificent way. Yeah. So
looking back, I think this series was over the minute, or I feel like the turning point where I think Golden State may have felt like, okay, we got them, is when, if you remember, Udoka came out and said, if our offense played better, we'd be up 3-1.
Yeah, because he didn't he undermined Curry's performance after Game 4, right? I remember that you sent me that, and I watched the
And I
press
was
conference.
so angry that they're more concerned about their offense instead of their defense. Not to
But
mention,
but
he's
there
under
is
the
some
belief.
truth to it, man. There is some truth to it because they weren't that down in that game when Curry went off. Like they were just when he said offense, I was like, just don't turn the ball over. Like Boston is like a turnover machine. If they just execute enough, they might even win that game. They might even, I don't know, win the next game. There's some truth to it. But if you're saying from the perspective that Warriors hear it and said, okay, maybe are you saying that from that perspective?
From both perspectives. One, who cares about your offense? Great defense is what got you there. Your defense against the Nets, your defense against Giannis, your defense in a defensive series against Miami. It wasn't your scoring; it was your defense. So to undermine that, plus if I'm going to say, I'm like, wait a minute, he's already complaining about the series should be over, but we screwed it up. It's like that had to be like, okay, we're in their heads now because they're complaining and they're like, oh man, if we went this way, we are be winning, right? But they're thinking about other stuff instead of being like, okay, it's 2-1, it's whatever, it's 2-2, whatever. We're still in control of the series. Instead, it was like they already panicked. Oh, we should be up, but we're not. Blah blah blah. And I don't think at any point, like clearly, like when Clay, you said we've been in a situation before. We're down, everything's okay. Whereas Boston, all they could think about is, oh, it shouldn't be like this right now. It's panic. They got scared. They saw what was coming, and instead of being confident in what they had on their team, what they can do, they just panicked. Because even Game 6, they started out hot,
Yep.
and because Golden State, they never panicked.
Yeah, that's the pure. The Game 6 is the pure mirror of those two teams, of this series. Actually, like when you start that hot and you make that run, I think 17 and something, and Golden State just ran you over after that, and it's like, okay, I saw it, and I think I texted you. Oh my god, like what's going on? Like, what is it's a mental thing when you look at that. They know me; I'm a big Horford fan. I felt like as much as he's good, like as a presence and veteran, I think he's a positive guy. But in the sense, they needed that. I always remember those words from. They need some nasty. They need some leadership with strong, like Kobe wise leadership and stuff like that. Like but I don't know. To get back, if I'm Boston, I think they're gonna need another piece. Like every team, like you need to get better. Even if you win the title, that's why I'm kind of skeptical about the Golden State to win it because you need more luck with being healthy, having your guys to play. Meyer said he's gonna re-sign both Poole and Wiggins. You need Peyton to stay, maybe to add something, maybe if you can, and they'll be the contenders, of course, for the next season. But I hope League gets healthy too, because we need healthy Kawhi, healthy Paul George, healthy Davis, healthy Jamal Murray, and it's not been for a while now, if you agree.
Yeah, I mean, there's always been injuries as far as the past 15 years. I mean, there's always been somebody hurt. It's just how it is. You gotta pull through.
I feel like it's more than in the last few years, more than before. This is my opinion, just my observation. More ACLs and meniscus. I just feel like with Clay, KD, Kawhi, Paul George, Anthony Davis, some of them just Jamal Murray. I just feel like it's more and more and more. And they say it's the most talented league that has ever been, but you can make an argument even back in the day. You had some
even if
great
it's
teams.
more, I don't think it's a complaint like, oh man, because these guys are out. That changed the whole playoffs. I mean,
You can make a case for Middleton. I'm asking.
I can see why, but I'm not. Just like I didn't make a case for Harden and Kyrie last year. Just like I didn't make a case for when Derrick Rose tore his ACL.
I don't want to put you on spot, but it's a hypothetical. If Middleton is healthy, do they beat the Boston?
I'm not sure.
Okay,
I
that's
might
a
still say
compliment.
no.
Yeah, that's a compliment to Boston. That's what I was needed to hear. Yeah, that's a
Yeah, 'cause I
compliment to
told
their
you, like
defense.
when I saw them do what they did to Brooklyn, that's when I was like, okay, because my whole thing from the beginning of the playoffs, it was like the bottom bracket with Brooklyn, Boston, and Milwaukee. I feel like whoever came out of that, man,
He's
they're
getting
going
to
to
the
be the most
finals.
battle
We're winning it.
tested.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I feel like people forget that, but the game one, I think we were texting and watching Nets and Boston, and Tatum hit the winning shot, like winning layup, and it was like, wow, that was close. And people forget, like when you get swept, people forget, like, that's a shitty team. That's like, but Brooklyn was a good team. Like Brooklyn played well. Brooklyn was a good team, hell of a team to play with. Like when you have those two monsters, with KD and Kyrie, it's tough to beat them, but they just went into Boston.
And they
Great
blew
team.
like a 20-point lead in game 2.
Exactly.
They
Exactly.
screwed
Yeah.
around. They could have been up 2-0. You never know what would happen in that series. But I mean,
Yeah, you
that's
get
just
2-0.
the nature of the playoffs.
And then you play. For example, I'm making a hypothetical, of course. Then you play Milwaukee without Middleton, which goes to your advantage. And hey, anything can happen. Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah. So it was been a fun playoffs for the last 2 years. Like as we all remember, regular season we were all ready for Bucks Suns matchup, which didn't happen, of course. I'm not sure if it ever happened now that I see the Suns, but we'll save that for the future episodes with free agency drafts for the Suns. What happens with them? Because overnight they were like, future was kind of bright. Now it's like, I don't know what's gonna happen, if they even gonna make the playoffs or what for the next 3 seasons. But Milwaukee is on my watch. Clippers are on my watch. Denver is on my watch. There's this team which I don't know who is gonna jump, but I'm still waiting to see. But it's gotta be always one that team. So, do you got anything to add before we wrap it up?
Warriors
Do you
were
want
the
anything
smallest team in the NBA playoffs, and they out-rebounded and beat all these teams that are bigger than them in the paint. And now they're going to get a 7-footer back next year. The NBA better get their act together.
Yeah, now they're gonna get legit center, more talented center than Looney, and they played without a backup center. Yeah,
They
that's
legit
true.
dominate the paint. Like, did you see the
Yeah.
stat about Tatum? His last dunk
Mhm.
was against Miami.
Against Miami. Yeah, he didn't
It's
dunk
like
after it.
game 6. He
And
never
he
had a
dunked-
dunk. No
he
dunks
dunked
in
it
this series.
I think he dunked in game 6 one time, but that was too
it
late.
was-
That was too late. Yeah,
It was a layup.
he didn't dunk.
No
Oh,
dunks.
okay. No dunks.
He had no dunks.
No, just layups. Just missed layups. Like yeah,
Great,
yeah, but
that's a sign of great defense too.
yeah, always Warriors trademark. Even for Mark Jackson, he put the stamp on it, and Kerr and Ron Adams improved it, and hey, now we're here. But yeah, that's true. That's an amazing stat. Like when I saw Wiggins having 29 rebounds in game 4 and 5, I was like, okay, Boston. And I can make excuses for Rob Williams being hurt. As the series went on, like exposure of Boston's bench, which is hilariously looking bad. They had like 8 points in game 5, I think, which was like, oh, they're not that good off the bench like that. And if you noticed, Boston always beat you with the threes. When they go hot, like they beat you with threes, and you'll never beat Golden State with threes in a series. Who did they play when we talked about Dallas? Remember? Yeah, I was like, okay.
Like they smoked Phoenix with threes, and then I mean it was the same thing with Memphis too, because the few games Memphis won is because they were hitting threes. But that's exactly what Golden State wanted.
The only team that would beat Golden State in a threes series
Golden State
is Dallas Mavericks 2011, the series against the Lakers. Against the Lakers, they couldn't miss. They couldn't miss, and they had Dirk. Dirk, like, I don't know, on steroids, double. Like I'm joking, but I remember that series always. Like Dallas couldn't miss, and Lakers were like, "What the fuck do we do?" Like Beja, Jason Terry. I don't remember even Jason Kidd was shooting them hot. But yeah, it's basically Golden State. You know. And if they start hot, like they'll make a switch, they make some kind of adjustment. They'll just kill you mentally. That you'll suffer in any kind of way. So
Did you watch
that's why I
Game
always
6?
yeah. Yeah, I did.
Did you see the play where Curry was switched on to Al Horford, and Al Horford was posting him up, and instead of taking him in, I think it was Wiggins that ran over. Instead of
Yeah,
just turning your back and posting him up and taking it to the hoop, he immediately kicked it out for a three.
yeah. That was like okay. Yeah, they couldn't even. They were attacking Steph the whole series. It worked maybe first 2-3 games, but later on you can. That's why. In my opinion, I was laughing because I wanted to Wiggins just for the fun of it. I wanted to Wiggins to have like 20 and 20 game. So in game 6, so they can have some kind of discussion that Wiggins is the MVP. Like you think he's the MVP of the Western Conference Finals.
He was. Okay, then.
Yeah.
Laugh all you want. He got robbed.
No, I'm playing. I'm only laughing how you responded, not the way what you were saying. Like the way you responded, he was. Yeah. It changes, but props to Udoka. Props to Udoka. I thought this shit's gonna work. You have it on the tape back in early in the season of Shoot the Shit and the season of the NBA season. I thought this is not gonna work. I thought a rookie coach, 3 dysfunctional guys, Smart's calling out everybody out. Before we wrap it up, I just want to say, as much as he's a good defensive player, Smart, I think they should reconsider getting a legit point guard general that could run the floor, because they need this. Because their offense, when they get crazy, they need somebody to say, just chill. And Smart isn't that dude, and you can't keep him. Like, he's not a point guard. Sorry, not a point guard.
He never was. He was a shooting guard. They need to stop playing around thinking they can turn him into one. If guys aren't traditional point guards, don't try to turn them into one.
No, don't. Should we wrap it up?
Yeah, I got nothing to say. Do you? I'm straight.
Tune in for the next week. NBA draft is coming. More trades, more white tall people like Sean Bradley. Until the next time.